The enormous difference of how the stormtroopers felt about Vader and how the Imperial officers felt about Darth Vader was quite astonishing. And the deeper you get into the lore, the more you understand why was this divide. You see, soldiers and stormtroopers had Vader's personality. They wanted to be on the ground fighting for what they believed in. The officers, on the other hand, enjoyed giving orders from the comfort of their own offices and their own bridges. The disconnect between the soldiers and the commanders was what created this ultimate rift, and presumably it's the arrogance that the officers had is what led Vader to eliminate them one by one. The officer that was toying with death today was an Imperial officer that served on Usk Minor. Before we get to this officer, however, we need to go back. We need to go during the early days of the Empire. It is Corin Aphra, the father of Dr. Aphra, that obtained a memory crystal with evidence of Oab's existence, as well as his quote-unquote crimes. Oab was a Jedi Master within the Order. He concocted a new weapon that was virtually unheard of in the galaxy. Corin Aphra believed he could use this to find the Fortress of Garn and the Urdu Aspecto. He recorded the story of Oab in his notes on Jedi heresies. 20 years later, Corin's daughter, Shelly Aphra, discovered the Far Killer, Oab's new weapon that he had concocted using his Jedi knowledge. The Far Killer was a unique weapon that belonged to Oab the Apostate, a magnification attenuator. It used lightsaber technology inside the sniper rifle, which allowed its user to take out targets from 100 kilometers away. The very existence of such a weapon earned Oab an excommunication, the most dangerous invention anybody could have ever come up with. And the irony was that it came from a Jedi. Talking about Aphra, years later she went on to steal the Far Killer, and she didn't waste too much time attempting to sell it on the shadow market. Not long after, however, Dr. Aphra was caught by the Rebel Alliance, and upon discovering the existence of this unique weapon, the Rebels now wished to use this technology to build their own weapon and assassinate the Emperor of the Galaxy, Emperor Palpatine. In the end, it was Black Chrysanthemum who helped Dr. Aphra escape as they made their way to the Archangel. In what we've come to expect from Dr. Aphra, she wanted to play both sides, or at least one side, and what she did was she contacted the Empire at their communications relay at Usk Minor, and her plan was to inform of the Rebel Alliance assassination plot against the Emperor himself. Cunningly though, what Aphra went on to do was she hijacked all of the relays, and she ended up transmitting on every command channel, telling the Imperials that the rebels have been developing a super weapon capable of assassinating the Emperor from beyond the core systems. She admitted that she has everything needed to support her claims, even the Jedi relic that is a vital component to this prototype of a weapon. The officer panicked. He ordered them to restrict the signal since this was sensitive information, but they couldn't. Aphra went on and on, explaining her intentions and the intentions of the rebellion, as all of the Imperials across every channel could now hear Aphra. And the one person both Aphra and this officer were afraid of heard it as well: Darth Vader. A ship was approaching the station. The stormtroopers halted them, and it was Aphra and her cohorts. They were trying to play nice, but as the Empire now had voluntarily captured Dr. Aphra, the officer and the stormtroopers were approaching the site, and it was one of the assistants that informed this officer that they were receiving commands, but it was an encrypted line and no identity was given so far. "Ridiculous," said the officer. "Tell whoever that is that we can't obey any orders unless they activate their holo communicator and state their rank." For this officer, it was a moment of victory. He had captured a vital prisoner in the Empire, and nobody would take this moment away from him. So he attempted to blow off whoever this person was, trying to hijack this glorious moment, but the holo projection was starting to form. The shadowy figure started to take shape, and it was none other than Darth Vader, informing the officer that his rank was a Lord Vader. The officer started to sweat in panic. He couldn't couldn't even speak at that moment, realizing that he just attempted to ignore Darth Vader without even knowing, never feeling closer to death than at this moment. Vader immediately ordered them to execute this criminal before she even can speak. Then they will retrieve her corpse and her possessions, but before he could continue, Vader's signal was interrupted. All the lines were dead and the signal was now being jammed. Alas, Vader's wishes would not come true. As lucky as she was, on her side came one of the key members around these territories, one who had heard her message, and that was Minister Patina Vor. Of course, more on that on another video, but for this one, you can clearly see the nameless officer for this comic that almost got force choked to death. We can't insinuate that every officer that wrongs Vader in a small way or big way will get immediately killed, but what Vader hated most was arrogance, and this officer didn't lack any arrogance. In fact, you could say that he was over cocky at best, trying to blow off whoever attempted to make an emergency contact. It just so happened to be Darth Vader, the second hand to Emperor Palpatine. What do you guys think about this ambiguous comic? Tell me down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you can have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you until then.